the most early myth of creation. Today we will travel through time. We will go back 4,500 years, to ancient Mesopotamia, and get to know the most ancient myth of the creation of the world. The first self-conscious national group, and of course the first nation in world history, were the Sumerians. They created the first civilization of Mesopotamia, and also invented the oldest known script, the cuneiform. Of course, writing as we know it today is the result of an evolutionary process that lasted several millennia and went through many transitional stages. But it began to take on flesh and blood in the second half of the 4th millennium BC. But for the next 1,000 years, even though the texts were improving, they remained mere memory aids and therefore difficult to read. In 2600 BC, writing had improved considerably, and by the following century included written poetry. Most scholars believe that the actual writing, which could fully render the spoken language, dates back to the year 2480 BC. And of course, this language was Sumerian. Sumerian is a language that is not related to any other language of Mesopotamia, and does not belong to any known language family. For this reason, it is characterized as a language isolate. The oldest poems in the world have been written in Sumerian. The dominant stylistic feature of Sumerian poems is the changing repetition, which in Sumerian is called balbail. In balbail some words are repeated, but also the sentence structure is repeated. But with this slow, well thought out and almost hypnotic repetition, the listener is transported to another realm. The timeless kingdom of the gods, of the soul, and the origin of life. Cosmogony of Mesopotamia. The Mesopotamian myths of creation are the oldest recorded attempt to interpret the world. In fact, they are all different variants of a central myth, which have to do with the era and the city from which they come. The same myths, with modifications, spread throughout the Middle East over the next 2 millennia. The Barton cylinder. In 1899, a clay cylinder was discovered in the city of Nippur, on which is written perhaps the oldest myth of creation of the Sumerians. It is named after George Barton, who first translated it in 1918. Today the cylinder is in the Museum of Archaeology and Anthropology at the University of Pennsylvania. It is written between 2500 and 2300 BC. Due to some peculiarities in the way of writing, the researchers assumed that the text was written by a scribe from the city of Adab, but the text was written in the city of Kish. The myth, however, comes from the older oral tradition, which began to be written with the introduction of writing, and is therefore much older. The first part of the myth takes us to the primitive period, when under stormy conditions in the sacred area of Nippur, heaven and earth come into contact. This is a very beautiful text. Through the myth, the city of Nippur acquires a metaphorical dimension because it appears to have pre-existed creation when heaven and earth were separated.
Pudria, pudrise nanam. Kyria, kyrise nanam. Moria, morise nanam. Udna dudu, nina girgir. Esnibru, udna dudu, nina girgir. Anekida goamdabe. Kyada goamdabe.
Those far days were indeed very far away days. Those far nights were indeed very far away nights. Those far years were indeed very far away years. Terrible lightning flashed through the sky. In the sanctuary of Nippur, terrible lightning flashed through the sky. Heaven spoke to the earth. Earth spoke to heaven.
But why did the Sumerians consider the union of heaven and earth so important for the creation of the world? In Sumerian the word means water, but also sperm. And when the heaven poured its water sperm on the earth, that is, the rain, then the earth sprouted, gave birth to life. After all, for the Sumerians the word ki for earth meant the fertile surface of the earth, and not the planet.